RMJ Movie Reviews back again, and I'm coming with another Happy Halloween movie review. Of this one came out the blue. I'm not really quite sure if this is Little Scene, but Trick or Treat. Not the 1980s movies Trick or Treat, which I think Ozzy Osbourne was in there, but I saw that one years ago back on the Showtime cable network back in the day. But we're talking about this film called Trick or Treat, which is I do remember when I worked at a movie theater down in Dayton, the Regal Cinemas. This is like back in I think this was 06 or 07. I remember seeing trailers for this movie. Actually, literally at the theater I worked at, they had trailers for this movie playing in front of other movies. And I remember seeing trailers like on DVDs, and it was supposed to be coming out at the theater, and it just kind of they had a date. It was supposed to come out, and then it was nowhere to be seen, and then it just popped up at like Blockbusters for like the last couple months they were open. Because actually that was where I rented. It was like one of the last Blockbusters in Cleveland before or in my neighborhood before it closed. And I also remember reading tons of reviews for it on Ain't It Cool News back when I still used to have faith in Ain't It Cool News before I gave up on them. Because they were plants, studio plants. But I used to read a lot of it on Ain't It Cool News like all the time back in the day. And I heard really good reviews. I like everybody else was just like wondering what had happened to the movie. And I used to see stuff on IMDb about it. And it had a schedule and it was gone. But here we are now. The movie kind of has a cult following. For most people who I know who've seen it and like these kind of movies, they thought it was pretty good. When I saw it, I believe it had come on video, if I recall, I think it was my 28th birthday. I think it was like my 28th birthday when this movie had come on video. Or, sorry, not video, DVD. I think it was. I can't remember. But when I saw the film, I had a couple reactions. Number one, I was just like, what the heck? Why did Warner Brothers dump this movie? Why did... I'm still at a loss. I don't get why they just dumped it, because it's the perfect movie for this time of year. You know, I mean, I think it is R-rated. Yeah, it is rated R. So it has an R rating. Maybe they were worried because it wasn't PG-13 or something. But my whole thing is there's an audience for it. You know, you release this thing in late September. You know, you give it its 4 or 5 weeks or whatever to make its money, because I'm sure this wasn't like some gigantic, Dark Knight style. I mean, they already had the Dark Knight, which was in production, so they would have made all the money they could have made. So I don't understand why they didn't go ahead and just release this thing, and they would have easily made a quick profit off it. So I have no idea why Warner Brothers dumped this movie. They had a nice little profit on their hands, possibly maybe a franchise. I'm not sure if this movie would have been that big, but I think it would have been a good, little holiday Halloween movie for like, some teenagers, early 20-somethings. I think it would have satisfied the crowd that it was supposed to. I don't get it. I think the movie is pretty good, aside from the short running time, and maybe I think there was maybe one story in particular in there. I think the payoff could have been a little bit better. And that was the one with the dead kids on the school bus. But again, it's a good flick. I like it. When I first saw it, I just kind of thought it was okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I just thought it was all right. Watching it again, I really like the film. I really like it. It's kind of a little bit different seeing it now, because the first time you see it, there's a lot of... And the thing is, it's not really an anthology movie, as somebody else on YouTube said. I believe it was Pizzow when he did the review when it very first came on DVD. This is kind of more of like a Pulp Fiction style kind of movie, where like you have stories that are running within each other as opposed to separate segments like Tales from the Crypt or Creep Show. Nah, these all run together, and you kind of see the camera. Kind of like you'll be one character, but then you'll see other characters from another story, and then it'll play back later on in the movie and show you their perspective. And I actually really like that. The production designs in this movie are fantastic. One thing I will say is when they reboot another Michael Myers movie, Halloween movie again, I really hope that they get a production designer who really emphasizes kind of that Halloween feel. And this movie really does that to a T. The production designs, the lighting, it really has kind of a fall, gritty-ish kind of look, but it's still polished, but it still feels very Halloween. A lot of different weird costumes. You know, it really plays with the lore of Halloween. And then you got like this little guy named Sam, which I assume we all know from like the Michael Myers movies, like Halloween 2 and Halloween Curse of Michael Myers. I believe Sam, the little pumpkin head dude, is supposed to be like Sam Hain, like the demon or the one of the evil spirits who represents Halloween. Matter of fact, I believe they had him on an episode of the cartoon The Real Ghostbusters back in the 80s. You know, old school guys will remember that one. But you kind of follow him around, and he kind of punishes people that disrespect the the holiday of Halloween, or don't kind of go by the traditions of Halloween. He kind of seems to give other people who do other evil things a pass. This movie's pretty controversial. I mean, I could only maybe think that one reason Warner Brothers didn't release it is because there's a lot of stuff that's totally politically incorrect. I mean, you know, you got grown adults murdering children in this movie. You got a guy who's a principal. He's a serial killer, and he murders one of his students. You know, the kid and he decapitates him and buries him in the backyard. And he lets his son. His son is going to turn his decapitated head into a human jack-o'-lantern, and his son is like I assume maybe like 6 or 7. So, you know, politically incorrect stuff in this movie. And this movie does not at all. This movie very much stays within kind of the traditions of stuff you would have seen maybe like on a TV movie in the 1980s or in the early 90s. It very much kind of has that just take, you know, just take risks kind of attitude that a lot of those TV movies and movies back in the 80s and the early 90s had. Unfortunately, regularly released movies don't have that anymore. And I think probably Warner Brothers probably got scared because they didn't think they had a built-in audience like any other franchise, or just the fact that how risky this movie is, because it's really ballsy, you know, in particular. I do like it. This movie has some nice twists and turns in it too. I mean, when I very first saw it, the story took some turns that I didn't expect to. You know, there's one guy who, when I first saw it, I thought he was a vampire, but I guess he's kind of stalking this Halloween fair, and you're kind of left in the dark as to what he's supposed to be, whether he's supposed to be a vampire or a werewolf. I don't know. You know, with the lore, they can kind of they can kind of be both sometimes, depending on who's telling the story. But he's kind of supposed to be vampire, werewolf, whatever. He's got a nice payoff. The serial killer principal, there's a nice payoff. There's a nice other payoff with Anna Paquin from X-Men fame, and her really hot girlfriends who seem to be trying to, you know, get some schlong in their life. And there's a matter of fact, their twist is the best twist in the whole story, because I must say, when I very first saw it, the route that it took, I didn't expect it, and then the payoff to the guy who's stalking the fair, the vampire werewolf guy, was excellent payoff. It totally caught me off guard, and in particular, those of you guys who know it, who've seen the movie, the song that they play over their twist is just added to the whole thing. It was really cool. Basically, everything in this movie has a payoff. Not all of them are great. I think this, like I said, the story with the school bus and the girl who's supposed to be, I think, autistic, or dare I use the word retarded. That's so 80s, retarded. I didn't particularly care for that story, but it had a payoff to something later on in the movie that I felt really fit right. So, you know, overall, I really like Trick or Treat. You know, it's a risky, it's a daring, it's a ballsy little quick horror movie that I think Warner Brothers just gave. It just really shows that the people who really control this stuff are business oriented. They're not fans. They're not fans at all because I mean this thing right here, you got a nice little profit on your hands. It's just a shame that the movie kind of just drifted into obscurity. You know, only really real movie fans like me or other movie guys are really even know this movie. You know, but you know, Bryan Singer produced this too of X-Men fame, and you know, it's just a shame. It's really a shame. But I highly recommend Trick or Treat. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little bit off today. I highly recommend Trick or Treat. Anybody who just loves Halloween stuff or kind of, you know, it's not an anthology movie, but something that's kind of may lead you to believe it's an anthology kind of horror picture. You really like it. Anybody who likes ghouls and goblins and really sick, dark humor, you really dig Trick or Treat, because I did too. So guys, please leave your comments below about Trick or Treat. Thumbs up my video, subscribe to my channel, check out my playlist and some of my older horror movie reviews from last year. And yeah, RMJ movie reviews, I'm pretty cooked, so that's the end of my review. I'm going to come back with a review of Night of the Living Dead 1990. And then I'm going to come with another Halloween movie review. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll just have to find out. Alright. RJ Movie Reviews. I'll see you soon.